Hello everyone, welcome to Options with Doug, streaming live on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time on Bookmap Discord and the Bookmap YouTube channel. Before I get started, I need to go through the disclosures. General disclosure: all Bookmap Ltd materials, information, and presentations are for educational purposes only and should not be considered specific investment advice nor recommendations. Risk disclosure: trading futures, equities, and options involves substantial risk of loss. It is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Here's my contact information. The best way to get in touch with me is through Discord. My name on Discord is Doug P. Also in Bookmap Discord, there's an Options-Doug chat channel. That's a great place to post questions, comments, and content related to the topics of my presentation and the topics of the channel that I'll go through in just a moment. I'm also on X, formerly known as Twitter. My name there is @Pless, and I did post a nice setup yesterday that I want to go over in AMD. I'll cover that, and I did post that on Discord and also on X yesterday. Here are the key tenets to my approach to trading. This is the basis of my approach to trading. I believe that options trades and market maker hedging activity are key drivers of price in many stocks and futures, and certainly in the large cap tech stocks that I follow, like the Mag 7 stocks, as well as equity index futures. Excuse me, like the S&P 500 and NASDAQ 100. And for the S&P 500, SPX is the underlying index. SPY is the ETF version of that index, and ES is a derivative of SPX and SPY. And when traders buy and sell puts and calls in SPX and SPY, market makers take the opposite side of those trades, and they hedge their delta exposure with ES futures. And for the NASDAQ 100, NDX is the underlying index. QQQ is the much more liquid ETF version of that index, and NQ is a derivative of NDX. And when traders buy and sell puts and calls in NDX and QQQ, market makers take the opposite side of those trades, and they hedge their delta exposure with NQ futures. The focus of my presentation today, and the focus of the Options-Doug chat channel, is options order flow, the impact of options markets on stocks and futures, and the influence of market maker hedging flow on price action. I have a two-step process for trading, and the first is positional analysis. I look at how traders and market makers, the first is planning, and I use positional analysis. I look at how traders and market makers are positioned to the options market and how those positions change from day to day to develop a thesis regarding the expected trading range and volatility for the day, as well as the directional bias. And the second step in my process is execution. I look at real-time order flow in Bookmap and real-time market maker hedging flow in Spotgamma Hero to confirm my thesis and for setups. So I'm combining what I see in Bookmap, the order flow, as well as the hedging flow that I see in Spotgamma Hero for setups. Questions and comments are welcome, and I will be watching both the Options-Doug chat channel as well as the chat and YouTube for your questions and comments. Please feel free to post. I'll do my best to answer your questions. And hello, Stephen. Welcome. Glad you're here. Hello, Dan P. Welcome. Glad you're here as well. And hello, everyone else. Welcome. Glad you're here. All right, here's my agenda for today. News items. First of all, Friday, May 17th. First of all, I want to go over news items, economic data, events for today. And there was only one big event today. Then I'll go through my positional analysis. Then I'll review some setups from earlier today, and then I'll take a look at the live market. And when I take a look at the live market, if anyone has any stocks they want me to take a look at, please let me know, and I'll be glad to do that. All right, let's get started with news items. So again, the big event for today is the May monthly options expiration. And let's take a look at that. So Spotgamma was indicating in the AM Founders Note today, first of all, this is a call-dominated options expiration, and Spotgamma was estimating that 25% of index gamma was set to expire today, and that could potentially lead to increased volatility next week. All right, so this is the expiration concentration chart in Spotgamma. This is available to Spotgamma subscribers. This is showing expiration concentration for the S&P 500, NASDAQ, Russell 2000. So this is showing delta notional on the vertical axis by expiration date on the horizontal axis. Orange bar is showing call delta notional. Blue bar is showing put delta notional. So you can see this options expiration is very call dominated. That call, all that call gamma that is supporting the market, a good bit of that will expire today, opening up potential volatility for next week. All right, let's move on to positional analysis now. I'm going to start with the S&P 500, a very, very tight range today. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. So this is the ES futures in Bookmap. And I want to take a look at a higher time frame first before I take a closer look at this chart. I'm going to go to the SPX, the underlying index. This is a wrong chart. Let's go to SPX. SPX one-day chart. Excuse me. 5-month rally began October 30th last year, and correction began April 1st, and then the rally resumed the Monday after April options expiration, which was slightly put dominated after this big move down. All right, let's pick that up with a 1-hour chart. SPX 1-hour chart. And here's the April options expiration. Rally resumed Monday after options expiration, and at least for now has reached a high for SPX, a new all-time high of 53.25. All right, let's take a look at the levels on this chart. The dashed purple lines are showing the lower and upper weekly expected move. This is based on the options market, the closing price for SPX from last Friday. Those lines remain in place for the entire week. Note SPX is trading above the upper weekly expected move. Then the dashed blue lines are showing the lower and upper daily expected move. Also based on the options market, the closing price for SPX from yesterday. I do post these levels in Discord, the Options-Doug chat channel every evening before. So SPX is trading above the upper weekly expected move, but trading within the expected range for today and just right around the call wall. So let's take a look at the Spotgamma levels now. These are the dark red lines. These are provided to Spotgamma subscribers. I'm going to point out the key daily levels. First of all, here's the 5,000 level. That's the put wall. That's the strike with the largest net negative gamma, and that can be expected to act as support. The next level up is the volatility trigger at 52.45, shown by the VT label there. That is Spotgamma's proprietary volatility flip level. Below that level, market makers' position on the gamma curve is negative. In a negative gamma environment, market makers have to trade with price to hedge their delta exposure, and that tends to enhance or increase volatility. Above that level, like SPX is traded now, market makers' position on the gamma curve is positive. In a positive gamma environment, market makers have to trade against price to hedge their delta exposure, and that tends to subdue or decrease volatility, leading to a more narrow trading range, not really big trend days. in a positive gamma environment. And that's exactly what is going on today. All right, the next, and that volatility trigger did move higher from yesterday, from 51.95 up to 52.45. And then finally the 5,300 level. That is the call wall, the strike with the largest net positive gamma that can be expected to act as resistance. And that is also the absolute gamma strike, the strike with the largest absolute positive and negative gamma. So that's where most of the gamma weighted open interest is concentrated. All right, let's wrap up our view of SPX with a 1 minute chart. So this is showing about 3.5 days worth of data, regular trading hours in the dark shaded portions. And this is showing the new high yesterday, right around 53.25. Reversal at this, just above this 53.24 level. That was noted as resistance in the Spotgamma AM Founders Note yesterday and today. And now SPX began moving yesterday morning in this downtrend channel. Looks like it may be kind of rounding out and maybe trying to break higher. All right, so again, SPX trading above the upper weekly expected move and just below the call wall absolute gamma strike at 5,300. All right, let's go to Bookmap now. So it looks like the S&P 500 ES may be trying to move higher. We'll see what options traders are doing in just a minute. So in Bookmap, I have my own cloud notes, so I can show SPX levels. So I have my own cloud notes. Here's the SPX 5300 absolute gamma strike call wall. Acted as resistance earlier today. I also have SPY levels on this chart. There's the 529 volatility trigger. So according to this, the S&P 500 is trading slightly below the SPY volatility trigger, which also moved higher from yesterday. And speaking of levels in SPY, there was a bullish hat trick for SPY. The volatility trigger put wall and call wall all moved higher. So the SPY call wall moved up from 530 to 535. So indicating, at least from the point of view of SPY, that the S&P 500 has room to run higher to that 535 call wall. Right now, there is a difference in price between ES and SPX. That changes a little bit yesterday. That changes a little bit every day. And right now, the ES to SPX difference is about 22 points. So I'm showing SPX 5300 at ES 5322. All right, let me check for questions. Benjamin asks, what do I think about BLNK? I'm not familiar with that stock. I'll take a look at it when I get to the live market. And Robert asks, what is gamma? Gamma is the rate of change of delta. That's the basic change. So it's a second derivative. And you can just search for options gamma on whatever search engine you use, Google, and get a lot more information. You can also go to the spotgamma.com support center and find a lot more information about gamma there. All right, let's move on. So far, really not a lot to see there. And here's the NASDAQ, NQ Futures and Bookmap. NQ Futures and Bookmap. And let's take a look at the underlying index charts, and we'll get back to this. So I'm going to go to QQQ. Zoom in on this just a bit. QQQ making a series of lower highs. Very narrow range. Note 452 is a large gamma 3 level, and the level just below that, 451.96, is combo 2 level. So those are the only spot gamma levels in play for QQQ today. Let's take a look at NDX. So here's NDX. Let's just zoom in on today. Levels above. Combo level, 18,000, large gamma 2, 18,595, combo 3 level, and 18,600, large gamma 2 level. And before the open, those levels did act as resistance right around 9 a.m. And here are the QQQ levels. So just like the SP 500 in my NQ chart, I have NDX levels and QQQ levels. And note, I do post the index relationships that I'm using every day. So just like the ES to SPX difference, the NQ to NDX difference changes a little bit every day. And we'll take a look at setups in a few minutes. All right, Anurag, hello, welcome, glad you're here. Ask, where do we go today? So tell me what you mean by we. I assume the SP 500. And Anurag also says we seem to be stuck at 53.20 for hours. So let's go back and take a look at that. Well, that is correct. That is also the point of control. That's this dark purple line. You can also see in the session volume profile. That's the highest volume for the session today. And my session begins at the open yesterday afternoon, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. And note, VWAP is pretty flat for the SP 500. That's the light blue line just above the purple line. And let's wrap up our positional analysis by taking a quick look at gamma notional. This is market maker's position on the gamma curve at the beginning of the day. I look at the SP 500 and NASDAQ. Note all these numbers are positive. And again, in a positive gamma environment, Spotgamma assumes that traders are short calls, market makers are long calls, hence the positive gamma, and they have to trade against price to hedge their delta exposure. So all these numbers are positive, but they did shift lower from yesterday. So Katinga says, so in a positive gamma environment, no trend days, is it related to market makers trading against price? Yes, it is related. And my expectation in a positive gamma environment is more for a range day, mean reverting price action rather than a big trend day. I'm looking for a bigger trend day in negative gamma environment. All right, let's move on. So that's the positional analysis. So my thesis for the day, just based on the shifts in spot gamma levels, and I forgot to mention for the NASDAQ, it was mixed. For NDX, volatility trigger call wall higher, put wall moved lower, and for QQQ, volatility trigger higher, call wall lower. So overall, I would consider that slightly, that shift lower in the call wall for QQQ, slightly bearish. All right, so let's, my thesis for the day for the S&P 500 based on shifts in levels for SPY was higher, bullish, based on potential call gamma unwind, bearish. And for the NASDAQ, based on the shifts in levels, especially the call wall in QQQ, slightly bearish. Also call gamma unwind, also bearish. All right, Anurag says SPX hero signal keeps going higher, as does NASDAQ signal. We'll take a look at that in just a minute. Robert asks, where did you find all these concepts and how to apply them? I started using Bookmap in 2019, I believe, and Spotgamma shortly after that. So I have developed my knowledge of these concepts over a period of years and learned how to apply them. And Ahmed asks, how do you predict when there is a choppy day? So stay out of the market. So in a positive gamma environment, I'm typically looking at stocks. I want to trade stocks that are moving. And I'll talk about some setups and stocks in just a minute. And Anurag, we'll take a look at setups right now. All right, so let's move on from positional analysis, move on to execution. So the levels that I looked at, gamma notional, that is information that is static data that's updated once a day. Now let's move on to real-time data, execution. I'm going to start with the SP 500. And this is the hero signal. So I'm moving on to real-time data, looking at, first of all, setups in the SP 500 and in NASDAQ. Then I'll move on to some stocks. Not a lot to see here. I'm going to go through this pretty quickly. So this is the hero signal, hedging impact real-time options. What this chart is showing is options trades and hedging, the market maker hedging impact, hedging activity for a combined signal for SPX, SPY, XSP, and ES futures, all into one combined signal. There are two lines on this chart. The first, the white line, is the price for SPX, and the hero signal is shown by the purple line. Again, that's hedging impact real-time options, HIRO. A rising hero signal indicates traders are taking positive delta positions. That indicates they are buying calls and or selling puts. And a falling hero signal indicates they are taking negative delta options positions. They are either buying puts and or selling calls. All right, note there are two signals that we can use for the SP 500. This is the traditional signal that's been around for quite some time. This is a newer signal, this SB Equities. And what this chart is showing is it's an aggregate signal, combined signal of the options trades and market maker hedging activity for all 500 components in the S&P 500. So your choice for the S&P 500 today, for this short that I'm going to talk about, I think this S&P 500 provided a more clear signal. It was more leading. So let's zoom in and take a look at this. I'm going to go to full screen now. So what I want to focus on is this short setup right around 10:30. Starting 10:30, so the hero signal was rising, flow alert, in this case a nice mean reverting signal indicating a potential change in flow. So the hero signal basically flattens out, and then starting right around 10:50, traders started aggressively taking negative delta positions, buying puts and or selling calls, and just a few minutes later, so this starts at 10:50, and then at 10:55, that's when the S&P 500 starts to move lower. So let's go to Bookmap now and take a look at that. So here's the, let's zoom in on this. So remember the hero signal moving up, and flow alert comes in at 10:30. Hero signal flattens out, starts to move lower about 10:50, and then price responds about 5 minutes later. All right, let's take a look in Bookmap. Volume dots are pretty choppy here. Green volume dots. The volume dots indicate market buy minus sell. Green volume dots indicate more buyers than sellers. Magenta dots indicate more sellers than buyers. Note overall, cumulative volume delta was falling. Note also that large traders were slowly fading this move with iceberg orders. That's shown by the falling light blue line, showing a number of smaller iceberg orders, sell iceberg orders they use to hide their size. And then as price starts to move lower, this yellow line showing stop orders starts to move lower, indicating sell stop orders were fueling this move lower. Here's the on-chart indicator. All right, so short setup in the S&P 500. Here showing the setup in the ES futures and Bookmap. All right, let's go back to Hero. Let's see what it's doing now. So the Hero signal is pretty choppy, and that was one characteristic of this S&P 500 signal. Whoops. One characteristic of the S&P 500 signal compared to the S&P equities, which tends to be a little bit smoother. So the S&P 500 signal now is moving higher. So far, no response from the SPX. Let's take a look at this S&P equity signal. And this is, first of all, here's the move lower. So this note the S&P 500 signal started to move lower before this signal, but now this signal continues to move lower. So a little bit of conflicting information. S&P equities moving lower, and S&P 500 signal moving higher, and the SPX is flat. Hello, John. Welcome. John asks, in general, do you allocate a period of time after the open to allow for a fill, to allow for data to fill a hero chart before attempting to make a read of the options flow? Not always, and to my dismay. So my stats show that if I wait a period of time, let's say my best hour for trading is 10 to 11. So if I wait, my stats show that my results are better. So yeah, I try to do that. All right, Anurag for today is asked, for today is SPX by itself worth looking at? My thesis is bullish spread based on SPX hero signal. Well, we can take a look at that. If you do look at SPX only, you are eliminating some valuable information, I think. So the SPX signal is bullish. SP 500 more choppy, but now was bullish, now flat. And the SP equities. So I don't look at the SPX signal by itself. So if that's something that you want to do, you're going to have to, you're kind of on your own there. I look at the total signal. All right, let's move on to NASDAQ. So just like the NASDAQ, there are two signals. First of all, this NDX signal, NASDAQ signal, combines NDX and QQQ. And there's something going on here. Some kind of roll that looks like. Perhaps with an ETF or something. So that is, looks like a very mechanical roll higher. So definitely distorting that signal. Let's zoom in. Well, actually, let's take a look. So for the NASDAQ, so for the SP 500, this is the SP 500 signal, and then the SP equity signal. This is the similar signal to the SP 500, combining NDX and QQQ. And this is the MAG 7 signal that I typically look at for the NASDAQ. So this is showing price for the QQQ, and then also options trades and market maker hedging activity for a combined signal for the stocks known as the Magnificent Seven: Apple, Amazon, Google, Meta, Microsoft, Nvidia, and Tesla. These stocks make up a very large component of the NASDAQ 100, and this is typically what I look at for the NASDAQ. All right, let's zoom in on this chart. All right, so note, just like the S&P 500 versus the S&P equities, this hero signal was a little bit late. So price started moving lower before this signal started moving lower. Let's go take a look at the NASDAQ signal. Let's zoom in earlier in the day before that roll or whatever it is. All right, so just like the S&P 500 signal, this signal in the morning, so let's say by 11:30, this is all the data that you have. You're looking at this. You see that hero makes a lower high, and then price responds about 5 minutes later. So very similar to the S&P 500 signal using the S&P 500. So let's go take a look at Bookmap. Go to NQ. Very clear directional move here, making a series of lower highs, MAG 7 signal pointing down. But here's this reversal. Let's zoom in on this. Reversal. Move lower. Right around 1050. Order flow, I think, a little bit easier to read here. Kind of a double top there. Trend break. Aggressive buyers on the way up. They're exhausted just before this cluster of levels. Aggressive sellers start to come in, shown by the magenta volume dots. Trend break, price moves lower. Cumulative volume delta moves lower. And remember, the NASDAQ signal was moving lower, hero signal moving lower. And as price moves lower, sell stop orders feel the move lower. Katinga asked, where do you determine the call put expiration on Spotgamma? Is it on the indices or equity hub tab? I'm not sure what you're asking. Are you talking about the percent gamma expiring? If so, I'll get to that in just a moment. All right, so there's the short setup in NASDAQ. Let's take a look at, go back to hero. Let's go to the MAG 7 signal. And this is definitely what is driving price today. We'll talk more about that in just a minute. All right, so let's move on. Let's take a look at some setups. And first of all, I do want to review a setup that I mentioned earlier today. This is from yesterday. And this is AMD. I'm going to start with the research that I did before the open. And this was a bullish setup. And my thesis for the day for AMD was bullish. 3 of the key daily levels, this is again yesterday, 3 of the key daily levels all shifted higher. Key gamma strike, hedge wall, call wall, all moved higher. Put wall did move lower, but that was not really in play for the day, with a closing price from the day before, just right around 160. All right, so that was the setup. Again, this is from yesterday. Now let's take a look at Bookmap. I did post this on Twitter and on Discord, and we'll see an opposite picture in just a minute. All right, so going over quickly, key level reversal. 160 is the call wall, key gamma strike. Price reverses that level. Aggressive buyers start to come in. That's shown by the green volume dots. Price moves above VWAP. That's the light blue line. We'll take a look at Hero in just a minute. So in the order flow here in Bookmap, very bullish. Price, aggressive buyers, price moving above VWAP. This dark blue line, that's cumulative volume delta, rising sharply and then continuing to rise up until 168. Pullback entries, this is the market pulse indicator. Market pulse price change, confirming the deeper pullbacks that made pullback entries, very nice pullback entries. So price, cumulative volume delta rising, price moving above VWAP, key level reversal, price targets above, shown by the number 7 there. All that liquidity, those are limit sell orders in the order book. So very bullish setup here in AMD up until just before noon. You can see all the aggressive sellers coming in there. And if you were still in, time to take your final profit at that point. All right, let's take a look at Hero, confirming this setup. And then we'll get to AMD today, and we'll see what's going on in AMD. All right, so here's Hero for the day. So price really was moving higher before call buyers came in, shown by the 4 there. Also that flow alert, get your attention, indicating significant options activity. Traders continue to buy calls up until when those aggressive sellers came in. So when traders buy calls, market makers sell the calls, and they have to buy stock to hedge their delta exposure. All right, so that's from yesterday. All right, let's take a look at AMD today. First of all, let me set the stage for today. So today, again, is options expiration. This is the May monthly options expiration. And one potential on these days is always gamma expiring. So I ranked my watch list. This is the Spotgamma Equity Hub. I ranked my watch list, shown down here with next gamma expiry percent. So showing highest to lowest and top gamma expiration date. And you can see this is all today. So for single stocks, there's quite a bit of gamma expiring today, starting with Tesla, Nvidia, Tesla Coin, AMD. So not all these stocks were moving lower as the expectation. So the expectation is traders have been buying calls. They're expiring today. Those calls are losing value. When traders buy calls, market makers sell the calls. And as those calls start to expire, they start to lose value. That's charm. Their delta notional starts to decrease. Also, traders are selling calls. Market makers that were long stock to hedge their delta exposure can sell that stock now as their delta notional is starting to decrease. Again, as those calls get closer to expiration, they're losing their delta, and also traders selling calls. All right, so let's just go in, I'm going to go in alphabetical order rather than this. We'll see some differences. All right, so I'm going to start with AMD. AMD, very bearish day today. And let's see what traders are doing. Shift puts and calls. And I'm going to have to jump back. All right, so what this chart is showing is traders have been starting selling calls right around 9:45. And AMD started to move lower before they started selling calls. So starting about 11:30, they resumed selling calls and also buying puts. Blue line, orange line moving in the same direction. All right, continue. I'm still not sure I understand your question. The options expiration, the monthly options expiration is a known event and it's options expiration for everything. For all, equity indexes and equities. All right, let's take a closer look. I'm going to take a look at next expiry. So in the case of AMD, I'm showing calls and puts for all expirations, all trades, as well as next expiration. So it looks like in the case of AMD, traders are selling calls that expire further out in time than today. So this is the green line is showing options that expire today. We'll see on Nvidia that's much more in play. All right, so let's go take a look at Bookmap. Let me turn this off. Go to Bookmap, let's zoom in. Go to AMD in Bookmap. All right, let's take a look at pre-market. So there was news before the open that Microsoft was going to use AMD chips to drive their AI. So a very bullish move pre-market, and it looks like traders used that opportunity to sell their stock as well as start to sell calls. And note AMD reversed lower just below the 170 call wall. So the hero signal lagging a little bit, but the order flow was pretty clear here in Bookmap. All the magenta volume dots coming in just a few minutes after the cash open. Cumulative volume delta continues to fall. Chart definitely dominated by magenta volume dots. All right, let's move on. So AMD pretty weak today, very weak today. Same with ARM. Not sure why this label is not showing correctly. 115 is the key gamma strike, though the line color is right. So let's take a look and see what options traders have been doing on ARM. Let's go to ARM. Get it over here. Zoom in a bit. There's the 115 key gamma strike. Move lower right after the open. $150 gamma strike. Traders selling calls, buying puts. That starts to accelerate. ARM continues to move lower. And they continue to sell calls and buy puts. So blue line, orange line moving in the same direction. Calls really driving, but very bearish in ARM. Let's go take a look at Bookmap. Quick move lower. Pull back to VWAP. CVD continues to fall. Note the high liquidity at 110. This is pretty typical of stocks. These are limit buy orders below price. Come in at the cash open, typically remain in the order book until they're filled. So limit buy orders shown by the heat map and Bookmap, the history of the limit orders. Looks like those orders were finally filled. And a great magnet for price for that move lower. All right, the next is coin. Great setup here in coin today. So let's take a look at this. So first of all, nice key level reversal here. 200 is the hedge wall and put wall. There's the reversal at the hedge wall, put wall. 200. Also note this line here. This is the correlation tracker. And what this is showing is correlation with Bitcoin. I'm using Bitcoin futures here. But if you have, if you subscribe to any of the Bitcoin exchanges, you can use spot Bitcoin, or if you don't have access to either the exchanges or, well, everybody with Bookmap should, but I'm using Bitcoin futures. It's a little bit easier for me to access since I already have rhythmic data, CME, rhythmic data. So anyway, this is correlation tracker showing correlation with Bitcoin futures. Here it is right here. So you have to subscribe to whatever instrument you want to show with correlation, and then just add it with this correlation tracker. You can pick the color of the line, also the weight of the line. So Coinbase has a very strong correlation with Bitcoin itself. What this is showing is Bitcoin started to move higher, and then Coinbase followed a few minutes later after testing the 200 level. Let's zoom in on this. So we can see a little bit more clearly the reversal at 200. Cumulative volume delta starts to rise. You can see sellers exhausted. Reversal at that level. Aggressive buyers start to come in. Cumulative volume delta rising. Price targets at liquidity levels. Let me darken up the heat map just a little bit. Primary target at 210. High liquidity at that level. And note, as price moves up to that level, the Bitcoin correlation tracker starts to level off. All right, let's see what options traders are doing. And let's go back to Hero. Take a look at coin. So in this case, they started buying calls after price started moving higher. So a little bit delayed there, but confirming the move higher. And they were also selling puts from the open. That's shown by the rising blue line. And notice right around noon, the call line starts to shift lower. Same for the blue line, and price now moving slightly lower. So that reversal is right around noon. Let's go back and take a look. And that's about actually the Bitcoin futures started to trend lower about 30 minutes before. So nice leading indicator there with the correlation tracker. And next stock, Nvidia. And Floyd's Garage, hello, welcome, glad you're here. Ask, is call gamma unwind an issue? Well, it is a reason to look for shorts in a bullish market, and of course the most. Certainly the equity indexes, S&P 500 and NASDAQ. We took a look at the 1 hour chart for the SPX. Has been bullish since 4/22, the Monday after April options expiration. So in that kind of environment, yeah, a call gamma unwind is potential. And certainly Nvidia has been rising, and we'll take a look at that right now. Nvidia has been moving up since that Monday after options expiration. So it is not, I'm not sure what you mean by issue, but it is it is something that exists, and a good a good thesis for a short. So something to be aware of. And DK asks, hello, welcome, glad you're here. A bookmap question, sometimes my green bubbles can show volume of both bid or ask, not only bid. So the volume dots are showing market buy minus sell. So the way I have my volume dot set up, this is I'm showing volume dot delta, so buy minus sell. All right, so hope that answers your question. If not, I suggest joining Bruce on Monday at 10 a.m. He will be able to answer questions like that. He streams live on Bookmap Discord and Bookmap YouTube channel at 10 a.m. on Monday. And Floyd's Garage, you're welcome. All right, so here's Nvidia. Great short setup today in Nvidia. And let's take a look at Nvidia. Traders selling calls today, shown by the falling orange line. Buying puts, shown by the falling blue line. And in the case of Nvidia, I'm comparing the call lines. All right, so the orange line is showing calls, all expirations. And the green line is showing options that expire today. So traders are unloading their calls that expire today. And market makers who were long stock, since traders have been buying calls really for the last month, traders have been buying calls, market makers selling calls, buying stock. Now this is all unwinding. Again, the green line showing options that expire today. Traders in Nvidia and other stocks will typically buy calls that expire at the end of the week, the weekly expiration. So this is the making up actually more. The green line is more than the all all expiration. So traders unloading their calls that expire today. Market makers no longer need their long stock hedges, so they're selling their stock. So this is a call gamma unwind. There you go, Floyd's Garage, call gamma unwind. Let's go back to the equity hub here and see that Nvidia is at the top of this list with over 56% of gamma expiring today. So if you're aware of this potential, this is something that you would look for is a short. And it's certainly playing out here in Nvidia. All right, let's take a look at one more stock. Tesla. Bullish day here in Tesla. So here is the 173.33 hedge wall. And that has been in place yesterday. On Wednesday, that acted as support, that 173.33 level. And today, not quite exactly at that level, but around that level, 173, acted as support, move higher. Note the aggressive buyers starting to come in, cumulative volume delta rising up to almost the 180 call wall. And price reversed lower right around 1230. Let's see what options traders are doing in Tesla. Turn this off. Let's go to Tesla. So in Tesla, right around 10 a.m., they started buying calls shown by the rising orange line. They also started selling puts. Blue line, orange line moving in the same direction. Price moves higher. And then they take their foot off the gas right around 1230. That's when price started to move lower. Started selling calls. Started buying puts. Now Tesla moving lower. Let's go back to Bookmap. Let's zoom in. So remember, traders started buying calls right around 10 a.m. That's right around here. So more or less a key level reversal. Price moves above VWAP. Order flow shifts bullish. You can see all the green volume dots coming in. Cumulative volume delta starts to rise. And then 1230, options traders take their foot off the gas. Price moves lower. Now continues to move lower. Potential target down at the 175. Key gamma strike. All right, earlier there's a question about BLNK. I certainly don't have that in a Bookmap. Let's take a look in Hero. I'm not familiar with that stock. Let's see if it's available in Hero. Change the total signal, go to Blink Charging Company, okay. All right, so pretty choppy action, low price stock. Not sure why you would even trade options on a $3 stock. So anyway, here it is, Benjamin. BL&K, Blink. Just compare the notional value here 6.14K minus. Let's go to Nvidia. Almost $1 billion, 904 million negative. All right, does anyone have any other stocks they want me to take a look at? Let's circle back, take a look at. All right, so Nvidia and semiconductors especially driving the equity indexes lower, especially NASDAQ. Back to Bookmap. Check NASDAQ first. Continues to make lower highs. Now maybe finding some support at the 450. Well, actually down below that, the NQ 18550 level. Above that is the QQQ 450 absolute gamma strike noted as support in the Spotgamma founder's note. All right, let's check the SP 500. All right, so a break lower around 2 p.m. Now maybe support around this combo 1 level. All right, last call for stocks. All right, my time is up. I want to thank everyone for watching. Thanks for your questions and comments. I hope I answered everyone's questions. If not, please let me know on Discord, and I'll be glad to try and answer your questions. All right, everyone, thanks. Have a great weekend, and I will see you on Monday. Bye.